What's up, everybody? Overnight Keefe is here. Unexpected late night live stream. One of those nights. I've had a very tough week mentally and got a last minute invite to a show tonight, which I'll talk about in a bit. I went to see Ultra Sun at the Chapel in San Francisco, and it was fucking phenomenal. So I implore you to catch them while they're on this US tour and deeply hope they come back. Stefano has passed by. What's up, Stefano? Just making sure everybody is here on all the streams. We'll see who shows up. It's overnight, but it was kind of like, I hate to miss these things. They mean a lot to me. I need my community right now, as I've, like I said, had a tough week. So just, hoping to do the damn thing and have a convo with y'all about rock and metal. You will either watch now or you will watch later. I'm not sure. But, yeah. All right. So, it's been a week from heck. Let me tell you, a week from hell. I had some personal problems, had some health problems, some mental health problems. And like I said, it was kind of one of those things, maybe to a fault. I need this show. I need to do this show. It means a lot to me to be able to get to do these shows. We've been doing them since the pandemic came up during the first few months of the pandemic, where we were like, oh, let's do a weekly news show and connect with people because we need to human a little bit. Renee Ruin is here. What's up, Renee Ruin? Good to see you. Only usually see you in emails. So what do we do here? If you're new here and you're watching this for the first time, I'm Keefe of GhostCultMag.com, your one-stop shop for rock and metal news. We interview bands on our YouTube and podcasts. We break news all the time. We cover shows and festivals all over the world, including some shows this weekend and some festivals that we're going to talk to you all about. So, as usual, I have a little deck that I made that helps me kind of script out the show. What's up, Jess? What's up, Renee? Just in case you're feeling tipsy, I will drop the tip coming in. Robert Cheeto is here. Ghost21472 is here. So it looks like TikTok, as usual, is bumping overnight. Septhers is here. What's up, Sermon of Flies? Welcome, welcome. We are following you. So, let's do the damn thing. April 25th. Where did the month go? As usual, we start with the announcements, and we've got some tough ones. What's up, Sermon of Flies? You're up late or early? I'm up late and early here in California. Could not sleep, and I'm wired, and I've had a crazy week, so it was kind of like, get this show done and move on with the rest of my shit. Some announcements. We are the media partner of the Wacken Metal Battle, the battle of the bands all over the world taking place, to get a chance for bands, independent DIY bands, to play Wacken Open Air, the longest running and best maybe metal festival in the whole world. And we're super proud of this. So this is coming up in a few weeks. The East Coast Finals are coming up in a few weeks, and they'll be hosted once again by my partner, Omar Cordy. Mariah Sucks. Serene Beauty LLC is here. Good to see you. All right. Other things going on. We are still giving away tickets to see Echo and the Bunnymen live in Los Angeles at the Greek Theater. You have about 3 more weeks to enter, and then you're out of luck. But I've appreciated everybody for coming along and following. This is a killer show and killer tour. I'd love to go. Shout out and happy birthday to our own Anita Frausto, who celebrated a birthday yesterday. I've been very fortunate to become friends with Anita, and we've covered probably 24 shows together in about 2 years. So super stoked to do more work in the future with Anita. Pretty sad news. Dave Mason, the co-founder of the band Traffic, with Jim Kentner and Steve Winwood, a teenage Steve Winwood, has passed away. He passed away asleep in his home after spending an entire day with his family and making dinner. Sure is cool. Fool is here. What's up? What's up? Jazzy Violet, Kim, Balladazed, a lot of Master Chief, a lot of people are here on TikTok and some on YouTube. I'm super stoked about it. Thank you so much for watching. We greatly appreciate it. And it looks like even someone on Twitch. If you follow me, I'll follow you back when the show is over. PV's Live is here. Annette is here. Bridge Bear. Fibonacci Spiral. Killer name. So yeah, rest in peace to Dave Mason. Chances are, if you're the current couple of generations, you don't know that Traffic is a super important band that kind of bridged the early classic rock era where they were doing kind of blues, rock, and soul, and then kind of transformed into kind of a folk rock thing also. Steve Winwood, who by himself went on to become a solo artist and a legend, he gave a very loving tribute to his former bandmate. And Traffic has reformed multiple times over the years. So just a few years ago, he might have been on tour. This week was also, we like to do some metal history to start the show. This week was the anniversary, the 15th anniversary of the Big Four first American show. There's a second show that happened on the East Coast in the fall. I was there. We'll talk about it when the time comes to do a celebratory live stream review of that show. Big Four in Indio, California. It's kind of where Coachella is. And it was epic. It was really a big deal for a long time. And there's a DVD. I had the DVD and Blu-ray at one point. Don't think I have it anymore, but maybe I can get it back. Also celebrating anniversary releases this week. The 1-year anniversary of Machine Head's Unatoned, still pretty killer. I still listen to this record. 2 Fear Factory records celebrated an anniversary this week. Of course, the classic Fear Factory Digimortal, which did have a Record Store Day release that I picked up and will be talking about on my other podcast next week. This time next week, but also... in addition to that, also Archetype, which was a vastly different record with a partially different lineup to Fear Factory. I'm very much looking forward to the next Fear Factory record. Infinite Dynasty's here. Scarlet Lady is here. Rocky Rush Rib is here. What's up? What's up? Charles William, welcome. Also celebrating an album release anniversary, as I like to call them. Warbringer dropped this banger. This is 15 years old. Weapons of Tomorrow, pretty killer. Another prominent album in my formative years. I don't know about you, if you love thrash metal, these next couple. Or for you, Testament's debut album, The Legacy, is almost 40 years old next year. These albums have been reissued and remastered, and I'm sure there'll be more to come via their current label, Nuclear Blast, that has the rights to all the Testament music. Also released the same week in 1987, Death Angels, The Ultraviolence, unbelievable record for a bunch of teenagers. Nomad SB is here. What's up? Man of Steel is here. Adam Barcombe is here. Slantera is here. Willie is here. A lot of people checking in on the TikTok. Must be probably early in the morning elsewhere in the world. Gojira's debut album, The Link, was released this week in 2003. I have that on vinyl. Soulfly's debut album, which is also almost 30 years old. The debut self-titled album, Soulfly, after Max Cavalera had left Sepultura, quit Sepultura. Phenomenal record, still holds up today. I love this thing. Also, arguably Obituary's second best record or best record, depending on your taste in old school death metal, The End Complete, which I do love this album cover also. Saw them play this in full a few times, was terrific. Also saw them play Slowly We Rot live, or most of it. Scorpions, I always feel like the Scorpions album covers are kind of embarrassing, but this one's decent. Savage Amusement, with the lady, perhaps an angel sitting atop a scorpion ready to sting her in the butt. Oh, Scorpions. Also Sodom, self-titled album from 2006, I believe. Pretty much a banger. Sodom records still hold up to this day, to me. So we'll drop the tip menu now. It's if you're feeling tipsy, I appreciate it. We do indeed have money from advertising. However, we are always appreciative of tips. Let's see, boom. Got the tip menu finally to work here on the gram, I believe. And I'll drop it in over here. We appreciate y'all, whatever you want to do. Or you can just drop us a super thanks or a super like over on good old YouTube. Let's see if I can grab this guy. My, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later. Now he's just a small fry. Them good old boys are drinking whiskey and rye, saying this will be the day that I die. Give you guys a little, hopefully I don't get sued or shadow banned or injured for that little quotable there. What is going on? Come on, TikTok, cooperate. One more second, y'all. I appreciate it. All right. Anyway, that's our tip menu. General support $3. Buy us a coffee on Ko-fi for $6. You can be a real one for $25. We will rate your song live for $75. But that works best on YouTube and Instagram, to be honest. We got some late night watchers here. Blackie Chan was here for a second. Sorry I missed you, Blackie Chan. Otter187 is also here. So that's tough to manage all these things. Anyway, you can drop us a tip if you're feeling tipsy. I appreciate it. On to the features, and we had some bangers this week. I'm big in this guy. Boop. Features this week include, in case you missed it a week ago, hey, Planet Rock and Roll is here. We have an exclusive interview on our site with Zomari Fedorov Shmerda and Marek Ashok Shmerda, formerly of Cradle of Filth, talking all about their life after Cradle of Filth. Zomari's new band or continuing band, Catalyst Crime, Ashok's continued composing work, and guesting on tour with Leaves Eyes. So pretty damn killer. Also, we did a live stream. I did a live stream the other day talking about the new Slayer shows. Are you excited about these Slayer shows? Would you go see Rain and Blood for its 40th anniversary if they expanded this tour? I do believe they will probably add more shows at some point or book these shows into 2027. But so far, we got 4 or 5 shows for Slayer this year. User not found. That's pretty amusing. See what I did there? See what I did there. One more second. Also this week we had just an incredible honor for me. I have been extremely fortunate to interview Anneka van Giesbergen. You definitely know her work from The Gathering. She did a lot of records with Devin Townsend, and she also has a vaunted solo career. She's in the midst of a 3 EP concept release setup where last year released La Vie, The Life. This year she released Le Mort, her brand new EP, The Death. And now she is going to get to work on L'Amour, The Love. And in the meantime, she has been touring heavily with The Gathering, which I think is hella cool. I always loved that band. And a buddy of mine, Chris Ward, I don't know if he watches these things, but Chris got me heavily into The Gathering as well as a bunch of other bands. So I've been very fortunate about that. All right. Well, boom. In addition to Anneka van Giesbergen, we also dropped a brand new interview this week with Corrosion of Conformity. We talked to Bobby Landgraf. You know him from Honky and down as a touring guitarist, and now he's the permanent bassist in Corrosion of Conformity. All right. There's also a podcast that comes along with these shows. This show will be a podcast. We have exclusive content coming up on our podcast as well as new stuff. All these different live streams and shows we do for our podcast. They become podcasts, so check them out. Ward 16 is here. What's up, Ward 16? One of the coolest bands in the UK. Also, my other podcast is the Glacially Musical Podcast, beer, metal, and swearing, sometimes hockey, sometimes arena football for some reason, but mostly we review albums and bands and series. This week, our new episode is on AC/DC, Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap. Next week, we'll be doing a Chaser, get the beer, and then the Chaser. We'll do the Chaser episode on Record Store Day. I have many mixed feelings about Record Store Day. I briefly shouted it out a few minutes ago. So yeah. Also, now it's time for the news rundown. And as usual, we start with festivals. And we are covering a banger of a festival this weekend. Perhaps you're watching this from Las Vegas, where Sick New World is going to take place this weekend. I'm a huge fan of this festival. They took a year off. I have some inside news about why that happened, not what people think that Linkin Park and Metallica made people not want to go. It's just absolutely not true. Was a timing issue. But Sick New World is back. Where our team is in Vegas already. System of a Down and Korn headlining with Bring Me the Horizon, Evanescence, Marilyn Manson, Knock Loose, Cypress Hill, Mastodon, and Filter, with a ton of other bands: Ministry, Acid Bath, AFI, Cold Chamber, Clutch, Terror, with a brand new album out, Tsunami, Orgy, Glassjaw, Failure, Vows, who I absolutely love, Speed of Light, Under Oath, Danny Elfman, Wage War, Deaf Heaven, Melvins, POD, Carpenter Brute, Health, Kitty, Norma Jean, Lords of Acid, so many. Chained Saint, who I saw a few months ago, phenomenal. And if you're interested and you want to pause, except on TikTok, we've got the running order. There'll also be a preview post on our website going up soon. They're really, unless you're really into the Diablo stage, which is mostly hardcore and a bit of industrial and goth. If you just were concerned with kind of more, your average metal and new metal, and other than Knock Loose, there are not really a lot of hardcore bands on the main stages, the green stage and the purple stage. But the spiral stage is always the goth industrial new metal stage. There's not a lot of terrible overlaps except Kitty and Norma Jean, COC, and Acid Bath kind of overlap, which isn't great. Speed and Twin Tribes, Deaf Heaven and Melvins, Cold Chamber and Health. Those are unfortunate. Otherwise, it's a pretty smooth day. Hydrate if you're out there. If you're out there and drinking, please make sure to hydrate and do your thing, but do it safely. So we're covering that. Look for a review from us soon. Also, M3 was announced. This is your hair metal glam rock festival in Columbia, Maryland, coastal Maryland, outside of Baltimore. Cinderella's Tom Kiefer and Queensryche co-headline, along with Buckcherry, White Lion, Engine Room, Faster Pussycat Trickster, and Soundcheck Rock Academy. And there's a VIP kickoff party. There's a VIP kickoff party with Quiet Riot, and there's an after party with Steven Adler and Adler's Appetite, which always plays GNR covers. Also, Damnation Festival announced a bunch of new bands, headlined by Cult of Luna and Satyricon, Igor, Carcass and Health, Crowbar, Triptychon, Wolves in the Throne Room, Walls of Jericho, I Hate God, Car Bomb, Benediction, and more. We took a year off of covering this festival last year. I would love to cover it this coming year. We shall see. We do have quite a good staff in the UK, especially in Manchester, who could cover the festival. Welcome to Rockville and Sonic Temple are coming up in May. We'll cover those more soon. Creed has announced the summer of '99, fifth year in a row, or fifth sailing, third year in a row, I believe. Creed, Breaking Benjamin, Seven Dust, Zach Myers, Solo, Hoobastank, Our Lady Peace, Hinder, Fuel, Drowning Pool, Fastball, Sponge, The Flies, and Ashes of Billy. I would really love to go to this. I've never been on a cruise. I think I need to get on a cruise first and just get out there and get my sea legs under me. But I used to work in the luxury travel and cruise industry, so I think it would be fun for me to be on a boat. I'm on a boat, and Prepare the Ground is coming up in Toronto. Wish I could go to this just to see Svalbard. Unfortunately, I cannot. And also Maryland Death Fest is coming up really soon. The 21st edition of Maryland Death Fest. And that's all the festival news this week. There will be more next week as we open up into the later parts of the spring. Slayer, man, in terms of concerts, this is the biggie. Slayer announced these shows. They kind of were teasing it on socials. They're already doing Rocklahoma. They're already doing some other festival stuff. And they announced it was meant to be 2 shows. And now they got added to Rockfest in place of Megadeth because Megadeth had to drop out. So Rain and Blood, originally Friday, I believe September 4th or Saturday, September 4th, and then Friday the 13th in November, and then they added a Saturday show for LA also. So pretty sold out already. I don't know if they're going to add any more, but looks like Slayer's back to at least do a few shows a year at this point. We'll see at what point does Metallica get down to that level. I do not know. We told you last week about the Unholy Halloween show from Dimmu Borgir, Satyricon, and Enslaved. That show is now completely sold out. Amazing. New Dimmu Borgir album coming soon. Are you pumped about it? I am. Halloween continues its 40th anniversary North American tour. We just covered that show in New York. Stay tuned for that coverage coming soon to our site. There are a few shows left. Looks like Salt Lake City at the Depot. I've been there. Amazing place to see a show. Seattle at the Paramount and San Francisco at the Warfield. Unfortunately, I will miss this tour. Amon Clock tour featuring Amon Amarth and Death Clock runs through the late May. We just covered this tour. You can see coverage of this on our website. Really phenomenal. Great job, Isabella Uzcategui, aka Originate Designs Productions. Pussifer Normal Isn't tour continues with Dave Hill. I'm going to this show in about 3 weeks. Super pumped. Chris Sutton 283 is here. What up, what up, what up? Flesh God Apocalypse continues their tour supporting Avatar with some off dates in the meantime. Behemoth, Deicide, and Rotting Christ Immolation continue their tour. We will be covering this Sunday in St. Louis. I caught this tour last week. I actually have some merch to show off from the tour, and just absolutely phenomenal show on all levels, except the sound at the venue I was at in San Francisco, which is trash. Seven Dust and Atreyu continue their tour, and Seven Dust and Atreyu and Fire from the Gods are all playing festivals also. Hoping to catch one of these Seven Dust shows. Ginger is kicking off their North American tour soon with Crystal Lake and Entheos. Super big doings for Ginger, one of the albums of the year last year, in my opinion. The Damned has announced the final Damnation USA tour. The band's talking about their advancing age. It's just not possible for them to continue to tour like this anymore. And they did mention that one of their members, their longtime members, passed away last year. So should be fun. We'll see if we can catch them one more time. Ultrasun. I was just at this show. Ultrasun in San Francisco. You need to catch this if you love synthwave and sort of danceable, aggressive, hard beat stuff. Ken Kaltenbach, what up, bro? You are up either very late or very early. Good to see you, though. Buckwheat is here. Ote. Shadow is here. 392 Chaz is here. But Ken, I hope you're well. I'm up doing a late night stream. I can't sleep, and I had a terrible week. GG Fan is here. What up, GG Fan? Good to see you. We're just doing the rock and metal news at a very strange hour for most people. 3:19 Pacific time for me. But Ultrasun, man, what a phenomenal show. The Beast in You tour. Great show tonight at the Chapel in San Francisco. Port Shore is also here. Failure, who dropped their new album today. We'll talk about that in the New Music Friday segment. is kicking off a tour soon. They're also playing Sick New World. I'm very excited for this. Legion, Gorod, and special guest Abysmal Dawn are doing the Tech It Easy Tour 2026. This will be this fall. Kind of exciting. We just covered a Legion. Drug Church is kicking off their new tour with White Reaper, Spy, and Public Opinion this weekend. I believe the first show was tonight, actually, in Detroit. And then they have also announced a late European tour in the year in September with Downward and Liquid Mike. So that looks really fun, including some festivals and headline shows. That's really cool. Just a couple of other things in case you're a big Edgar Allan Poe fan and you're in the New York City area. The Edgar Allan Poe cottage, where he lived later in his life before he moved back to Baltimore and perished there, is hosting the Fall of the House of Slam cash prize poetry competition. 10 people can enter. The top 3 winners will split the winnings starting today at Poe Cottage at 4 p.m. at the Grand Concourse. I used to live in that neighborhood briefly. Pretty fun. You're nocturnal. Your insomnia has lasted for many years. Me too. Me too. I am doing really bad with my sleep apnea, and my mental health is not great right now. But the show tonight, going to see Ultrasun, kind of gave me a big lift. I was listening to like Typo Negative all day today, and King's X, which go like some of my, and Pink Floyd, some of my depression albums. Just another thing that's kind of fun here in San Francisco at SF MoMA, they are having a sort of art bash and an auction where they are having bands and artists play, DJs, singer-songwriters, folk artists, and Shannon and the Clams, one of the coolest punk rock bands. So super fun that they are one of the headliners of this art bash at the MoMA. I think I'll be having a MoMA date soon with my fiance. You know what we need to do? We need to get the fuck out of here immediately. I love this meme where aliens come down and they land and they see Jesus on the cross and they're like, nope, gotta go. Fucking hilarious. Anyway, just a reminder, if you're feeling tipsy and you want to give us a tip, cool. If not, that's also cool. The show will always be free. I don't believe in paywalling things. Eli Santana, what up, son? Phantom Cadaver is here. But anyway, yeah, because of contributions from folks like you, we're trying to build a DIY rock and metal community. There's so many fake Facebook accounts with fake news and bullshit that I am just striving to stick to my journalistic ethos, whatever. That's maybe a waste of time. Ms. Queen Diva is also here too. If I'm wasting my time, maybe, but I hope we're still valued. And yes, I am drinking a Liquid Death at 3:23 a.m. But anyway, just a quick word from one of our affiliate partners, Fable Beard. You can have an awesome beard like I do. I've been using Fable Beard's products now for about a year, and they are fantastic. Beard butters and balms and deodorants that don't irritate my precious sensitive skin and all kinds of other things, man. If you sign up with the link in our description or a link tree, you get $10 off your first ever order with them, and we get free merch. So it's the store action. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. Also, partners of ours include Lamb Goat, the much meaner version of Ghost Cult. You probably know them. They have the awesome Van Flip podcast, and we are an ad partner with Lamb Goat. More to come there. And once again, just super stoked about our partnership with Craig Caruso of Caruso Apps, WordPress developer and digital strategist, which I'm also a marketing expert when I'm not doing this. And really, you can't operate a business as a DIY enterprise without somebody to have your back, unless you're a coder and a web dev. And Craig is those things, and certainly a web dev expert. And once again, if you're watching this everywhere but TikTok, we are partners with StreamYard. If you want to stream like we do across all your socials, almost all your socials at once, sign up with our link in the description. And we're on all the social things. Some of you are watching right now on Twitch. Some of you are on the tube of you. Some of you have been here through Facebook. We're on all the things. We have a newsletter I send out every Saturday. I will put myself back on screen. Hey. So let's talk about the news this week. There are some major stories. I found this out tonight while I was at the show. Bruce Kulick, the former guitarist of Kiss and Grand Funk Railroad, had a major heart operation that he came through great. Apparently, he had a childhood birth defect as a heart ailment, and he just found out about it not too long ago. He had kind of retired from touring, and yeah, he really he came through great, and he's gonna get a full recovery. But no joke, men, get your prostates checked, get your heart checked, get your shit checked. I know we're not great at, and get your mental health in check. But I'm glad Bruce Kulick's going to be okay. I know people die; it's part of life, but I just can't really, bear more. It's been so hard this year already with a bunch of deaths. Ken writes on the gram, almost 100%. We have to keep doing what's true to ourselves. Almost zero support at times. That's what separates the fake from the real. But I guess also the rich from the poor. Unfortunately, stay strong. Thank you, Ken. I say all the time that being in, having a DIY enterprise business to do independent rock and metal news and journalism and interviews is just like when I had a band. There's tremendous highs and there's crushing lows, and you just have to steel yourself. You have to be in this for more than headlines and ink, and we do thousands of interviews a year and hundreds of album reviews, and sometimes the bands don't share anything, and sometimes they go to Blabbermouth and they're everywhere, and sometimes the bands share. We've been showing a lot of love. We had an album review of Neurosis. We had my interview with Neurosis has gone viral on YouTube and our podcast with over 5,000 views, and they shared all of it, which is super nice. But it's just something that they don't all do. Thanks, Scott, for dropping by. I appreciate you. Jay Hambo is also here. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate your kind words, man. But anyway, Kulick is cool, and he's back. Live Nation, we told you last week that they were, after the U.S. government literally bent over and spread their cheeks for Live Nation because they gave the president $50 million toward his election campaign. And the Department of Justice, with all the evidence you could want to, force them to split up their monopoly, the Department of Justice said, nope, we're going to just close the case with nothing else. And then a jury found Live Nation and Ticketmaster liable of operating a monopoly and unfair business practices against music fans all over the world. And of course, what happened with Live Nation, all the major news outlets praised them and said, oh, they shouldn't be split up. They're all sucking on the teat of big business. It's really embarrassing what has happened to major journalism in the world right now. It's really it's an absolute embarrassment. And not in any kind of an embarrassment of riches. It's the opposite. Mr. Fair Werewolf is here. What's up? So fuck Live Nation. Canada ruled this week that from now on, they're not going to allow any resale of any tickets for over fair value or face value. So maybe someday maybe someday America, when we have a new government installed, can re-pursue Live Nation. Basically, they got a slap on the wrist. A $280 million settlement they paid in April is like 4 days profits for them. $9 million. Once again, fans are going to get some stupid vouchers that don't fucking mean anything or won't really get you into the commensurate amount of shows for the amount of pain they've caused you as a ticket buyer and a fan. The Slayer tickets were immediately gone. They barely made it to the public. They were all gone in the pre-sale by bots. I can understand pit tickets if there's only 2 shows or 3 shows being $400 or $500. I don't want to be in the pit anymore, but in a mosh pit at a major arena, you're going to pay, if you were going to see Taylor Swift or Billy Joel, those tickets would be almost $1,000 anyway. But even the rest of the tickets, immediately that escalator shit goes in. And the tickets were up to $1,300, $1,400 for nosebleeds. Not even good seats. where you might not even have a view of the stage. Are you fucking kidding me? Embarrassing. So anyway, get your shit together, governments of the world, and stop this bullshit. Anyway, Iron Maiden, we told you recently, got elected into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they will be inducted into the Hall of Fame in a ceremony in the fall. And they announced through their manager, Rod Smallwood, that they will not be attending the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, not because they are pissed, not because they're too good for it, because they're going to be on tour in Australia when the concerts are taking place, and Iron Maiden does not cancel shows unless they absolutely have to due to illness. And even then. So, they will probably appear by video or something, like a video message. And that doesn't mean that other non-current members of Iron Maiden cannot be at the Hall of Fame. Nico McBrain and Blaze Bayley are getting inducted. Maybe then Paul Di'Anno's family, maybe they can all be there. Korn dropped their first new song in 4 years today from the upcoming Diablo 4 expansion pack soundtrack. I didn't know this was a thing. I love Diablo 1, 2, and 3. I can't game anymore because if I play games, I'm never going to get any work done and or get this stuff done. So I cannot game. I go down a rabbit hole with games on my phone or on my PC. It's over. Game over, man. Game over. System of a Down has yet another song joining the Billions Club in streaming. I know that these streaming places are evil, but good reporting by our friends at Lambgoat and the PRP, who also compiled a big list of this. System of a Down's Lonely Day becomes their third song to cross 1 billion streams. 3 Days Grace, Animal I Have Become is now 8 times platinum. The Pretender album by Foo Fighters is now double platinum. Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun hit the billions mark. Somehow, Red Hot Chili Peppers' Danny California is quintuple platinum. Jesus Christ, I'm not quite billions. And Disturbed's cover of Sound of Silence is soon to cross the billion mark at 9 times platinum. Anywho, all right. But yes, Sick New World headlining gig tomorrow. We will see, and of course, Sick New World Texas. We'll see if System of a Down has further gigs down the line. They did a huge tour of stadiums last year. So Mark's Metal Minute is up very early or up in the middle of the night. Elisa is here. What's up? What's up? I hope it's Elisa or Alyssa. Correct me if I'm wrong. I am sorry if I am wrong. Static X celebrated their very first gold record for Push It. Congratulations to Static X continuing to tour. Rest in power, Wayne Static. Armored Saint dropped a new single and video called Hit a Moonshot. I'm super pumped for the new Armored Saint album. Hannah's here. What's up, Hannah? Devin Townsend dropped a new single and video, Home at Night, kind of from his upcoming orchestral album, The Moth. I've been a big follower and Patreon supporter of Devin currently. Don't know if we're going to get a new interview with him. We didn't get one the last time for the puzzle, but I would love to get one. We've interviewed Devi quite a bunch of times. Butthole Surfers new album. I did not have this on my bingo card, but we've known about this for a little while. Butthole Surfers are dropping a brand new album. They dropped a new single and a video. This artwork is actually made by the 3 remaining members of the band. Butthole Surfers after the astronaut, and it's kind of like a butthole logo with like rectum marks. It's pretty great. I'm here for it, man. I'm always ready for new Butthole Surfers material, gotta tell you. All right, let's see. What else? Mouse is going nuts. Oathbreakers. Rhea turns 10 years old this year, and they are doing a remix and not a reimagining, but a remix and remaster of the album. That is a sort of renewed album, and that's coming out. And the band is doing a huge world tour. Hopefully, eventually includes the rest of North America beside Prepare the Ground in Toronto. Also, this was super fun. I did not have this on my bingo card either. Quicksand has a new album coming out. I'm a huge fan of Quicksand and Gorilla Biscuits and Youth of Today and Rival Schools and anything Walter Schreifels does. But Quicksand put out 2 new singles. They have a new album coming out in June. I am here for all of it. And that is a band we will try to get a new interview with. New books coming out this week. A book celebrating 40 years of Run DMC's Raising Hell. Super pumped for that. Out on Quarto Books, also from Quarto Books. The definitive 50th anniversary of the Clash anthology book, which sounds super cool. Probably try to get my hands on one of these. Verona on Venus. I'm going to make sure I say that correctly. Verona on Venus is a Los Angeles band that features 2 former members of Devil Driver, Mike Spreitzer and Austin D'Armond, who also was in Chimera for a spell as their drummer at one point. They played a show this week where they dropped new music. So they performed new music live before it was released from their assumed second album that will be coming out at some point soon. This is super cool. I didn't have this on my bingo card either because, sometimes these death metal fonts are so small, I can't make them out. Cerebral Hemorrhage, the old school New York death metal band, is back, and they are opening Maryland Death Fest now. That is fucking cool. So usually not a lot of late additions to Maryland Death Fest. It's usually late drop-offs. The Dam Builders was a killer 90s indie rock band. They put out new music. They're putting out a new album. They dropped a new single. 100 Demons announced a new album and dropped a new single and video. Punchy hardcore style. Black Veil Brides have a new single featuring Rob Flynn of Machine Head. Rob Flynn doing all the features this year on top of touring. Pretty killer. Restless Spirit is a band you need to have on your radar. They're about to do a co-headlining tour with our homies in Gozu. New interview coming soon from Gozu, and Restless Spirit has new music coming out too. Also, Darkest Hour has re-signed with Monarch Heavy. Kind of like similar to you when you're trying to get a new job. The only way you can get a raise is if you go to a new label. So, shout out to Darkest Hour continuing to work with Monarch Heavy. And I'm here for it. So very excited about Darkest Hour, one of my favorite bands ever. And maybe they'll get to work with John from Baroness again on an album cover one of these days. That'd be cool. They've done quite a few, and shirt designs and all the things. Airborne dropped a new single and a new video and a penned a letter to Lemmy. Airborne's your hard rock and Aussie heavy metal hard rock band in the vein of AC/DC and Motorhead and stuff like that. And I'm a big fan. I interviewed Joel O'Keefe a few years back at Aftershock Festival when he was there. They were on a brief run of the States. This new record is the self-titled Airborne record. Usually your self-titled record is either you don't have anything else to say or it's a statement. This is what we're doing this thing. This is what we're doing. So just fun and games, folks. Just fun and games. All right, that's all the news, and now it's time for New Music Friday. And as usual, I don't know what to do with this segment because anytime I try to play some music, I just get flagged, and it bums me the fuck out. So rather than play some music, I will not play music today because it's also late in the middle of the night and I got shit to do. But go to bed. But let's do a quick run through of the New Music Friday. It's a pretty huge release day in the world for New Music Friday. Let's just boom. So, albums that came out this weekend include 30 Denarii, Kindly Plotting for a Riot, My Kingdom Records, Admiral Sir Cloudsley Chevelle, The Trouble with the Shovel on Rise Above Records for some psychedelic rock. Love that band. Amity Affliction, new album, House of Cards for some metalcore on Pure Noise Records. Anubis, the heavy metal band from LA, now with 2 vocalists, Anthropomorphicide on M Theory Records, great label. Armed for the Apocalypse, The Earth is Breathing Beneath Me on Church Road Records for some extreme metal. Atlantic Ridge, self-titled on Void Wanderer Records. Atreyu's new album, The End Is Not the End on Spine Farm Records for some hard rock and metalcore. This one just absolutely killed me, man, to try to listen to this today. At the Gates, The Ghost of the Future Dead, the final album with Thomas Lindbergh, Tompa. Just hurts my heart, man. Just hurts my heart that he's gone. Blind Dead 23, Deuteron on Peaceville Records. Blood Countess Imperatrix Sanguinis on Dominance of Darkness Records. Chinook Tursa, a band I haven't heard from in a long time. A Cry for the Slain on Apocalyptic Witchcraft Records. Death Lens, What's Left Now on Epitaph Records. Devil's Cut, Roadkill on Monarch Heavy. Einar Solberg, who is the front person of Leprous, his new solo album, I think his third, Vox Occulta on Inside Out Music. Foo Fighters' new album, Your Favorite Toy, haven't listened to it yet, on Roswell Records. Gus G's new solo album, Steel Burner, on Metal Department Records. Hoka Via Miseria 4 on Nuclear Blast Records. John Corabi, formerly of Scream and Motley Crue, New Day on Frontiers Records. See a few more. Nequient Avarice for some New York City avant-garde death metal, Nefarious Industries. Nixel and Drouth Split toward Dead Temples, self-released. Nuclear Messiah, Black Flame on Cleopatra Records. That's a big super group with Chris Poland and a bunch of other people. Let's see, Portrayal of Guilt, new album, Beginning of the End on Run for Cover Records. Roman Candle, Unadulterated on Sumerian Records for some hard rock, metalcore, punk. Sepultura's Farewell EP release, The Cloud of Unknowing. I was a big fan of it. I dig it. We have a good review of that on our site. 6 Feet Under's new album, Next to Die. Not too interested in that, but maybe you are. Metal Blade Records. Terror's Killer new album, Still Suffer, for some punchy hardcore, their first album ever for Flatspot Records, and really the most veteran band Flatspot has ever signed. They have mostly the new breed of hardcore punk bands and crossover punk, and for them to have Terror on their label is a bon mot, as we say in literary circles. Also new albums by Vardis, 100 Miles Per Hour 79 revisited on High Roller Records. Volcandra, Beyond the Will of Mortals on Prosthetic Records for some black and death metal. That's the side band from Christian of Obscura. Werewolf, Satanic Terror on Dominance of Darkness Records. White Tundra, Stories from the Dark on Octopus Rising Records. Witch Piss, The Devil Doesn't Burn on Ardua Records for some psychedelic stoner rock. And Rang Verwoden, Dominance of Darkness. A lot of things from Dominance of Darkness this week. It's an up-and-coming label. Very, very cool. All right, it's time for the mailbag, and then I'm outie. Ugh, late at night. Oh, wait, I don't need that. I need this. Boom, there we go. I'm tired, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I lost one of my key lights. Haha. But just in time to unbox some stuff. So let's just talk about some stuff I just wanted to show off this week. I was giving these gifts out for Christmas. From you guys on TikTok, you can look this up. I'll link it in the description. These are giant-sized volume and tone knobs to hold your whatever, your weed, your stash, your drugs. But I put my guitar picks, some of my guitar picks collection in here, and also some other things. Look what's in here. A cool Descendants patch I need to add to my battle vest. I think there's a pin of Jim Jones given to me by my fiance that I love. And let's just randomly show off some picks that I have here. All right, this looks like man. Here's a Mastodon pick. That's cool. From the Crack the Sky tour. I have a whole thing of other things. Here's a General Metal Blade Records guitar pick. See some of my more famous ones right here. Here's a Green Jello pick from Slim Cessna of Goo Goo, famous for Goo Goo Muck. Here's a Metallica pick from the World Wire Tour. That's pretty cool. And a few others. Odds and sods, as we say. Oh, Killer, Redbeard Wall. I was showing off some merch they sent me recently. They also sent some guitar picks along that I did not get the chance to show off. So these are really fun. They're certainly fun and funny. It's giant tone and volume knobs. I like volume more than, tone is important, volume is important. They're all important. Very cool. that goes on my desk. What else do I have to show up? So I went to see that Godless 4 tour last week with Behemoth, Deicide, Rotting Christ, and Immolation. And I gotta say, like, Deicide had some of the best merch I've ever seen from that band. They had certainly the most amount of merch. I think the Behemoth merch was good, but it was limited in what they had. And then Rotting Christ had some terrific merch. And Immolation had some terrific merch. If you've seen some of my other videos this week, I'm wearing my Immolation shirt in that video. I also got an awesome Rotting Christ patch, this circle Rotting Christ patch. Black metal since 1989. I am putting a new vest together. And then the merch slinger for Immolation wrote this Immolation book, Kevin Stewart Pankow, Into Everlasting Fire. This is the official history of Immolation. And yeah, man, I'm so pumped to read this. I'm in the middle of a bunch of books right now, so I've been behind on my book reviews for Ghost Cult. But this, I had gotten the PDF of this and read about a quarter of it, but I'm really excited to crack it physically and you know, made my honorable mention list for last year, but now I'll get a chance to fully read it and maybe review it. And that is our show in a very manageable 51 minutes in the middle of the night. If you managed to watch this, I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, man, 6 feet under. You know, hey, Windy Brick is up. What's up, dude? I need to get some sleep. I haven't been sleeping. I'm having a tough week, bro. But I'll see you soon. And Ken, thank you for being here. Yeah, man, I know people still love 6 Feet Under, and I know Jack helped write like an absolute crushing album. I just can't do Barnes anymore. Just me personally. It's not against him. He's a legend. We need him. You know, I don't want anything to happen to these older rock and metal guys. That death metal lifestyle is going to get to some people. But anyway, that's our show. I'm going to go to bed soon. Thanks for watching. As I say every week at this juncture of the show, it's a tough time in the world. So please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Don't drink and drive. If you're going to a metal festival this weekend like Sick New World or something, hydrate. If you want to drink and get and party, cool, but hydrate. I'm Keefe at ghostcultman.com. If you're new here, like and subscribe and all the things. We appreciate you. More to come. And I'm out of here. Have a good night and a good weekend. Be safe. Peace. One of these is the thing. No. Interrupted. There it is. Peace.